All right, here we are in the next shot, the next sequence.
Mhm.
Um, this is a special shot. I can't remember the timeline when this shot came to fruition. It was pretty. I think it was like in the middle. I think of us making this
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah. At first we did a blued version. Do you remember that? It's a blued.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a blued version. But finally we want to just use the color of the anime. Just do the same.
yeah. So if you're looking at this, this is the shot from the original anime, and then this is the final shot from the actual tribute. Pretty close. What's funny is I don't even remember looking at this when we were grading it, but I was thinking we were going to be far off, but we are kind of close. There was a part I think when we started making this where I was kind of disconnecting from the original just to make sure
Mhm.
that this was still being represented properly. I think sometimes if we try to get too close and it disconnects a little bit, but I think
Mhm.
it got quite close. So, but this is mostly you when you built this out. I was focusing on a couple other technical difficulties on a couple other shots. I think I was modeling something crazy or I can't remember, and I was tied up, and so you were like, "Oh, I want to do the building," so I was like, "Yeah, go for it." So you ended up. This is like, beyond the modeling the buildings, you ended up texturing it and setting this up, which it just it looks outstanding. It's really
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah, I love this shot. I think it really represents the tribute really well. And here it is in the file. You want to talk a bit about kind of your approach into of building it and kind of what you were thinking and how you managed to make
Okay.
some of this stuff.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Basically, the hardest part is to do the same texture as the anime did.
Yeah,
Uh, but uh, but we cannot achieve the anime effect by using the real world CGI textures. So I faked some of them. I Some of these textures I used like the windows on the right corner. I used the emission texture and added a interior image to that emission texture and make that texture a little bit uh, glow, and so that it looks like it's a window and it looks like a window and there is an
mm.
um, interior and space in in that window.
Yeah,
But basically, I just use the emission texture to achieve that.
mm.
Basically, from the anime, you can see that because it is handled, the reflection and from the glass is it's not just it is not like in the real world. So I can use this technique to fake it.
Yeah. I think that's another another thing too is like building out the textures and the lighting and the situations. This is also like this is animated in a very interesting way because we use a long lens, but then it's moving like you animate the buildings to match the
Yes,
movement because this isn't naturally how it actually would work, So you have to cheat that as well. But that's cool, and I think that's what again a testament to what we were trying to do is we were constantly trying to find a way to find a bridge the gap between 3D CGI and the animation and finding a good style that blends between the two. I think Octane as a renderer naturally fits the Akira look pretty easily, and not easily. I think it's not the right word, but like it's not like V-Ray or something where I think is more or less mimicking reality. I think Octane has a style to it, to the
Mhm.
renders. You know what I mean? Like it's not like an Octane or like a V-Ray necessarily where it's like it is a physically accurate render. So I'm not trying to say that it isn't, but I think there's a style to the way that it uses lights and how lights interact with it that
Mhm.
is very unique to Octane itself. So um, I think that there's something there that Octane has its own kind of feel, which is interesting. I think it helped us out a lot. We used some
Yes.
post bloom and stuff on the lens too, which I think is worth mentioning too. Is like we use bloom effect. You could see it it's quite significant. That's how you add a lot of atmosphere. We ended up adding a lot of glow and stuff as well in post in After Effects too. Yeah, the animation is kind of interesting though, huh? You want to talk a bit about how you animated that? Just
Yeah,
keyframe, right?
basically, yeah, just keyframe the building because you cannot find um, the suitable camera movement that is similar to that anime.
Yeah.
So I just keyframe the building is much faster.
Yeah, so this is basically, so I'm gonna grab the camera so you guys can see. So see, where's the camera at? So the camera is it's a long lens. It's a 135 telephoto lens. That's how you get that isometric look. Most of Otomo's drawings are isometric. He draws like a long lens basically. And so if you look here, you see the camera, we're moving, but then the buildings are moving. So this is not natural, right? This is
Yes.
totally unnatural, but at the same time, it was the way to do it basically. So like, yeah, so you kind of just moved them in place and got it to be where it needed to be. And I find this stuff so funny because it's like, you don't realize it until you see it, the weird stuff that you have to do in order to bridge the gap. Because the original anime it is parallaxing, and basically the way it is that they wouldn't draw the building over and over every frame. They would draw the buildings on different planes of glass, I believe, and then they would move it and shift it every frame manually. And so we kind of did the same thing here. So,
yeah, the same thing, yes.
Yeah. And the results are just really striking. I really love this, and I think this is a proper homage shot. This is like you know, look at the difference between these two. They're pretty close. We're using a different aspect ratio than the original film too. We decided to do like a 2:3:5, more filmic look to it. Whereas I can't remember the aspect ratio on the original. Do you know what it was? The original?
I don't know. I don't know.
69 maybe or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, you see, it's pretty close. So, but yeah, I remember when this shot came through, I was like, yeah, here we are. Like, I think it's like, you know, sometimes there would be months where we were just in a process of modeling things or texturing things, and we wouldn't get these payoffs. This is like a payoff right here. And it'd just be like months of just, it doesn't look good and I'm hating it. And then you'd get these little moments where you're like, wow, this turned out really awesome and it looks beautiful and it looks just like the source material, and like, isn't that cool, you know? So
yes.
for me, that was another, like, you get these little boosts throughout the process, and this was one of them, is just seeing this shot come along. There's a couple other ones, but this one was really a special one for me. Anything else that you can think of for this shot?
Yes, I think that's all. Because basically it's texturing things, but if we dive so detailed about the texturing, it cannot be finished.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot to do and focus on, but I think with texturing, it's just a matter of just trying to find what looks good and what works, and try to find a match between the styles. And I think that, you know, before doing this, wouldn't you say that like you wouldn't know how to do this and this necessary? You had to explore and find it. And I think we both learned and explored and found ways of texturing this project to make it work in a way that we would only know by doing it. And that's kind of just how it works with this stuff, is you just learn, you go and you learn as you go. And I think it was like, let's see if we look in the post stuff too, there was like some slight light animations too. And that was a note that came in. So when we make this stuff, when we get kind of close, we end up asking some friends who have exceptional eyes that can kind of help us, so we don't, you know, a lot of times I think we become blind to the shots because we work on them so much. But I think it was Anthony Scott Burns who composed the amazing score for this. He mentioned, oh, you should animate the lights, and I think you ended up doing that towards the end, right before we left for Milan. I was putting on some animations to the lights in post, which is great because we didn't have to render it again. Because anytime we had to render something, it was awesome. But yeah, how did you end up doing that? Did you just set up little windows and then add some levels effects or something, or what did you end up doing there?
Yeah, I just manually drawn some shapes,
I love
and
it.
yeah, and did the opacity animation. That's all.
Yeah, and that's just like, and it works too. And just putting it on there. Okay, awesome. And then like when you see it all together and you add some noise and some slight blur and stuff, it all comes along really nicely. So yeah, and there it is. That's the shot. It was quite beautiful. Something to be proud of. I really love this shot. So it came out really cool. It was just a long process. I think, yeah, it's just from the modeling to the texturing to the lighting to the post work. It's some of the stuff was easier than others and some of it was harder than others. But yeah, this ties to the next shot too that we'll probably end
Yes.
up talking about. So let's move on to that one. Good?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Good. Let's go.
Awesome.